So, welcome back to the Web3 Insights, where we bring you innovators shaping the decentralized future. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Almariei, who is the head of marketing, and Josh, who is the CEO at PassApp. PassApp is revolutionizing smart wallet experience with focus on seamless, safe, and personalized features that empower users to discover their passions on chain. We're going to be discussing their approach to Web3 adoption, the role of personalization in digital wallets, and their upcoming plans, including their first AI-powered feature launch in the coming weeks. So let's get started. Josh, Anne-Marie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Absolute pleasure. Anne-Marie and Josh, if you just wanted to start by sharing your backgrounds, what led you to join PassApp, and how your journeys have shaped its directions. Anne-Marie, if maybe you wanted to go first.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. So pre-Web3, I was a Web2 creative and marketing lead. I worked with a lot of big brands and agencies in New York City. And then I took a role for Gary Vee at VaynerMedia, and he convinced
Interesting.
me I needed to leave advertising and start my own company. So I was able to add founder to my resume for the first time. And that's where I discovered my love for startups. And then I stepped into Web3 in 2016. Didn't go full time until 2021, where I became a fractional marketing lead. And I found I fell completely in love with the on chain ecosystem, but I found being fractional was very difficult. Being, 10 hours a week for a number of different projects, this didn't let me really make an impact. So I saw Josh post on LinkedIn about this role. And when I got to talking to him and, he said, I have this opportunity, told me what they were building. And this was such a unique opportunity for me because it taps into my experience as not just a marketer, but a brand builder and community builder. So really, it's been very exciting for me to be working on this project with Josh from like the very, very early days. Usually when I step into a role as a marketer, I'm inherited a project, and I have to kind of take someone else's vision and bring it to life. But this has been really exciting to be able to tap into these different areas of expertise that I have and also combine it with, my love for the ecosystem and building something that aligns with my own kind of vision. So it's been a really, wild journey to get to this point. But yeah, I'm really excited to be working on this project.
Amazing. No, it's a great journey. We've known each other for a little while. I didn't actually know you'd done some work with Gary Vee, and I actually didn't know much about your story, so it was really, really interesting to hear. Josh, you keen to hear obviously more about your journey. I noticed that previously chief product officer at PassApp, and now moved into a CEO role.
Yeah, that's correct. I would say like my journey probably like I'm a consumer product person through and through. So I've been in the product management industry for over a decade now, and purely consumer because I love serving. I love the potential of serving millions of users around the world to sort of like improve their lives and make a dent kind of in providing them with value. I fell down the rabbit hole kind of in a strange way. It was back in about 2013, 2014. I read a really amazing book called Who Owns the Future by Jaron
Nice.
Lanier. He's a futurist, mainly in the virtual reality space, but he wrote a book that at the back at the time it was eye-opening. Right, today it's pretty obvious and everybody knows about it, but back then it was about this data economy. Right, the structure of the internet as we know it today is controlled by these large corporations who he calls siren servers. They're kind of like they suck all the data in from the internet, just similar to like in Greek mythology, where the sirens sang these beautiful songs to the sailors and lured them to their death. Right. So this is basically what these take on these corporations. What they're doing is with our data, with our personal data, they're kind of singing these songs to us that we will give them all of our data, completely for free, not knowing that essentially what we're giving away is so valuable, right? So, and he said, that this kind of creates this like power imbalance between large corporations and the individual, which I found fascinating, right, at the time. And his solution really, really intrigued me. His solution to this problem was an open market solution. So it was monetize. How do we monetize our data to give it value, right? To kind of like rebalance the power between the individual and the corporation. And he talked back then about like internet money, like baking money in as a protocol into the internet without even mentioning, Bitcoin had been around for a few years back then, but that was it. There was no Ethereum, no anything else. And he talked about this internet money. So that I started that really fascinated me. And I started doing some research, and then I came across Bitcoin. I said, oh, wow, this could be a potential solution to this problem. And then obviously I fell down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, and I was, very, very interested by the technology and the financial applications. And I had always kind of wanted to work in the industry. Back then, it was the entire industry was basically Bitcoin, and you had to be a developer to kind of be part of that industry. And I'd always kind of had in the back of my mind this desire to one day, when there would be sort of like consumer grade products, to hop into the space and really kind of work in the space, because I was very interested in it. And then, so like fast forward to about 2017, 2018. I found, the first opportunity that I saw, which is actually really relevant for me, which is it was a company back then. It was called Codename Django, but it turned into a company called Zengo, which eventually I was one of the first employees, and we built it into one of the most successful crypto wallets today. Amazing. And the mission in the beginning of Zengo was to make the first sort of consumer grade crypto wallet. So to make it accessible for the masses, it was, native mobile, something that was easy to use and simple. And I just fell in love with that concept. And so that was kind of when I first stepped in professionally to the industry. And then fast forward to today, at PassApp, we're building a next generation wallet. So all the great sort of innovations that we did at Zengo and the industry essentially has applied to UX and crypto in general over the past many years. I think we're at a point now where we're building really a next generation. We call it a Web4 wallet. Actually, it is the combination of Web3 plus AI together combined into one, which I think that's really the future of wallets. So, super excited about everything that we're doing here.
No, absolutely. It sounds like an exciting time. I love hearing both your stories as well, in terms of, how you got into Web3. I love hearing everyone's story and how they got in, because everyone's story is so different. And, I find that incredibly important to give that message out to the audience. Like, it doesn't matter, necessarily the background or experience or how you got in. As long as you've got that passion and love for the space, then, the world's your oyster. I mean, I just happened to fall into the space. I feel like I was very late into the space, although I've got 6 years now in the Web3 industry, from a professional perspective in recruiting in the space. I just so happened to fall into it, picked up a client and started working in the world. But I still feel like 2019 for me, like I was like, wow, I'm incredibly late into this. But, as I say, for anyone, watching, it's never too late. Now's as good a time as any to get into it, for sure. Josh, you were mentioning there about looking at the sort of mission of the previous application. PassApp is obviously described as the most seamless, personalized smart wallet. For those unfamiliar, could you give us a bit of a high-level overview of the app and its mission?
So we're building the smartest wallet. That's kind of like how I like to summarize it. Like I said before, we're combining the power of Web3 with the intelligence of AI to essentially allow your wallet to automate a lot of the complexities that normally users have to face in crypto. And we're essentially solving two main problems that have plagued the industry ever since it started, and still today plague the industry, which is, one is complexity, and the second one is just like being overwhelmed with all of the information and the data out there, right? So complexity is just people are, kind of afraid of getting involved because they don't understand the technology. They feel like it is a very technical kind of industry, and there's a lot of opportunity, but people stay away because it's so complex. So we're really focused on making using crypto super easy and seamless to use, and just abstracting away all that complexity. And the second part is the overwhelming issue of, there's so much information out there. So in order to get into space, first of all, the overwhelmingly most popular way that people get into crypto and Web3 is they know someone, right? They know a friend, they know a relative who they speak with. because everyone's heard about it on the news, on the television and everything, but it kind of just they never get, they never take the first step until that one moment where they're having a conversation with a friend at a party or a relative at Thanksgiving, a meal, and that kind of like triggers them to get in. And then from there, their path is just, how do you learn about this space? Where do you start? Well, they go to Google, maybe they go to social media, and they're just, you can get lost very easily, obviously.
Yeah.
And as the space matures, it only gets worse, right? Because the space gets bigger and bigger, and there's more and more information, right? So that kind of information overload is another problem that's keeping people out of Web3. And that's what we're focused on solving. And that's a problem that mainly can be solved with AI, because AI knows how to basically look at the entire body of information out there on the entire internet and really kind of distill it down to what you're interested in and personalize it to you. So that's another thing that we're kind of doing. I would say our mission is to just bring the entire world on chain.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, the app obviously enables users to explore and engage with their passions on chain. How does personalization factor into the wallet experience, and what makes it, unique from other smart wallets that are out there on the market?
I would say, okay, so first of all, the personalization aspect
hmm
is really the core experience of PassApp. So right when you download the app and you go into the onboarding experience, you're greeted with sort of like a very short set of questions of, what are you interested in? And you can be interested in maybe DeFi, or you can be interested in stable coins, or you can be interested in art or sports or science, or really anything. There's a
Interesting.
whole bunch of just different verticals in Web3 that could potentially connect to every single human being on the planet, right? Just the one example that I like to give is gaming, right? There are 2 billion gamers on the planet. So, and think of how many gamers are in Web3, a tiny little fraction of that. So if we can just kind of make that connection between these 2 billion gamers and the games in Web3, I mean, it would be huge, right? So, and gaming is
Yeah.
one of the topics that you can choose in the personalization experience in PassApp. And then basically what happens after is you get to the home screen of the product, and we surface content that is relevant to your interests. And that's currently powered by AI. So partially AI right now, but we're actually building a lot more features that will make it even more and more powered by AI. And our goal there is to just increase the level of personalization to a point where it will just kind of know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is just open the app, and you'll just kind of see all of this content that is really personalized to you. So that's in the realm of personalization. And then, you mentioned like what makes us unique. I would say the other aspect is we are really, really seamless. And so, onboarding for normal wallets is painful, because you have to, write down a seed phrase, and then you have to like type it back into the wallet to convince the wallet that you actually were paying attention. And then you have to be stressed out about where to keep this seed phrase. And it's just a whole mess, right?
That is a
So
pain.
we abstract that away with something called passkeys, where it's a seedless wallet. It's a passkey is a piece of, call it a piece of secret information that you store on your device, but it's also synced end-to-end encrypted to your personal cloud. So it's fully non-custodial, but it's literally you cannot lose it. So it's never exposed to the world. So you can't get phished, you can't get scammed, you can't lose it. It's just easy, and it takes 3 seconds to create. So that's just one example of how we're unique, and there are many more examples I'm sure we can get into later.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the personalization, I think, is a great touch. And that's definitely something unique especially from my personal experiences with other wallets. I haven't sort of had that experience so far with any of the other wallets that I've used. From a marketing perspective, Almariei, what strategies does PassApp use to onboard and engage users who are new to Web3? How do you communicate the value of decentralized wallets to, a mainstream audience?
Yeah, so Josh alluded to this a little bit before, but usually people are onboarded into Web3 because they know someone, a family member or somebody like that. So our onboarding, is kind of starting with making sure that the Web3 natives really love us because we're abstracting away some of the things that are really annoying, swapping across chains, not having enough gas in your wallet, just little things like that that we abstract away, and then making it easy to just do the things, within the ecosystem that you want to do. I don't bring my Web2 friends into Web3 because I feel a sense of obligation and responsibility to keep them safe. And it's a lot of time that you have to invest into making sure that they're going about the right things and not getting scammed. So the strategy, from a marketing standpoint has been first appeal to the natives. They will feel confident giving us to their Web2 friends because they'll see how easy we make it, how safe it is. So, if we can go above and beyond the things in Web3 that are bad right now, there's lots of scams, there's lots of ways to happen into something that's not real, whether it be a scam or whether it be a rug, like it happens to all of us. So if we can go above and beyond with the support, we have a live support on our website. We have support in our Discord. We're collaborating, very closely with our early users. It's important that we're almost abstracting away blockchain, completely, so that the users that do come to us, they know they want something that is decentralized. So we're non-custodial. They maintain control, but we're taking away all the complex actions that you have to go through. So you asked about, how do you bring the value of decentralized, wallets to mainstream? First it's about blockchain. Like educating everyone about blockchain is a really big responsibility. So if we could
Agreed,
start
yeah.
with, yeah, we could start with, why we are simplifying things and helping people to onboard in an easier way. We're taking, seed phrase away and using passkeys and fallback recovery, which is just a better solution. We can provide all the benefits of blockchain without all of those complexities that right now are really just a barrier, right? Like people aren't going to just jump right into Web3 because they don't know what they don't know. And a lot of us who are crypto natives still don't know what we don't know sometimes. I think like the Bybit hack is a really good example of that. You've got a safe wallet in place, and things go wrong. So, how can we go above and beyond to make sure that our users feel safe, they feel protected? And another thing that we're doing, it's partially marketing, but it's also very like product driven, is right now the only way that you get attention in the market is if you're an airdrop or you're doing some sort of farming. And we very purposefully didn't want to do that because it doesn't set us up for success in longevity, and really bringing value to our users over time. So we set up our reward system as a loyalty program where you get rewarded for both on-chain and off-chain activities that you do within the app. That helps us to build a long-term relationship, and we want to give people a feeling of building alongside of us, and we're really in tune with our consumer feedback and our early users, and really understanding what they like, what they don't like, paying attention to the ecosystem and what's happening. So I think like the perks program will really be something that differentiates us from a marketing standpoint, where these points actually have like real utility down the road, which will unlock features and rewards. And I can't really go into much more detail than that.
No, absolutely fine. I think you said it perfectly there, especially from an onboarding perspective, like around the security and simplicity with these, applications, and particularly from a wallet perspective, right? I had some friends who got into crypto, what I would consider quite early in like 2013, 2014. They were mentioning it to me. And I remember at the time, like one of the reasons I didn't want to get involved in it is because it just seemed so complex, and I just it's too complex then for me to understand, and it's almost like because of then how complex it was, it's like just naturally people are just like it's not that easy to do, I'll just give it a miss, sort of thing. So I think that's really what I would say anyway, is at the core of it, and Josh, one of PassApp's core promises is making digital asset management both simple and secure. I'm keen to understand what steps that you've taken to, ensure that non-technical users, like myself, feel confident, in using the wallet.
Yeah, so great question. I think the first part touches upon what I mentioned before, which is the fact that we use passkeys instead of a seed phrase. And
Yeah.
what that essentially means. So the number one hacking attack vector in crypto today is phishing and social engineering. So it's people out there trying to either steal your seed phrase or get you to sign malicious transactions and then basically drain your wallet. So with passkeys, we completely eliminated that attack vector because you literally can't get phished with something that you are never exposed to. So it's stored in a hardware component of your phone. Don't want to get too technical, but it's called a secure enclave, it's a tamper-proof piece of hardware that is essentially, that's where your passkey is stored. And you can sign transactions with it, but you're never exposed to it. So it's the key that is, you can't lose it. You can't get it stolen from you, and it's fully non-custodial. So only you have access to it. So that makes onboarding super simple, and it makes wallet recovery super simple as well, because a lot of times when you have to recover your wallet, that's a huge moment of stress for users. It's like, am I gonna go find the seed phrase? Is it gonna work? I don't know. Go figure. Go remember where you put your seed phrase 3 years ago, right? I saw something. Somebody, Kevin Rose, recently, like the other day, just tweeted something that he kept his seed phrase in a bank vault that burned down, and he lost his seed phrase because the entire bank burned down.
Oh
so
God.
Can you imagine thinking what could be more secure than storing your seed phrase in a bank vault, right?
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that security is not just about hiding things behind metal doors. It's about access. It's about making sure that you can't lose the thing that you need to have access to, right? So that's what passkeys do. It makes everything super, super easy and secure. And another aspect of our security system is we're actually going to be releasing this in a couple of weeks. It's proactive security. So a lot of times you'll go to a DApp, decentralized application, and you will sign a transaction. And actually it's a website that is pretending to be the real website. And users will sign a transaction and essentially their wallet gets drained, right? So we are implementing a system that scans the transactions before they happen so that it will make sure that it will either say this is a malicious website or a malicious smart contract. It will also simulate the transaction before you actually do it. So it will, a lot of the times in these attacks, the wallet that the user is using does not show you what the outcome will be.
Yeah.
So you click sign, you think you put in $100, and what it actually does is send $10,000. So it will simulate the transaction in advance and it'll show you exactly what you will be sending before. That's another way that we're protecting users. And last but not least, we are fully audited by Trail of Bits, so they're gold standard in the industry. And so we're thinking about security from day one. Security, I like to call it security by design, because the user shouldn't have to think about securing themselves. It should just happen by default, right? So that's the kind of principle that we like to build the product with.
Amazing stuff. So moving on to the AI side of things, as you sort of alluded to earlier, PassApp is set to launch its first AI-powered feature very soon, in the coming weeks, maybe months.
Yes.
Awesome. So I know probably you can't give too much away, but how do you see AI shaping the future of PassApp, and what role will it play as well in the user experience and personalization that we were sort of discussing earlier?
So in PassApp, I can say that, first of all, AI will essentially two things, and then a third thing in the future, which I won't go into too much detail. But the near-term stuff is, one is content recommendations. So talking about that overwhelming problem that I mentioned before. So, if you're interested in gaming or sports or DeFi or whatever, the AI will provide you with content that's tailored to your interests. That's one thing. The other thing is just automating away that complexity that we talked about. So right now, and this, I think this is the big unlock here, because there is so much value locked up in the world of crypto, that like 0.001% of the world's population has the technical knowledge to be able to access. And I'm talking about all of the sort of like the DeFi and the more like exotic kind of DeFi things out there that you really have to be an expert to be able to take advantage of. But there's a lot of alpha there. There's a lot of upside. Most people don't know how to use it. Like I myself, I'm checking the news, this stuff as it comes out. And many times I'll go to this new website and I just look at it and I'm just like, how the heck is anybody supposed to understand how to use this? Right? But that's where we're going to apply AI. So all you'll have to say is, I want to invest in this because, it has high yield, or it looks interesting to me for whatever reason, or I want this token, I want that token. And it doesn't matter what chain it's on. It doesn't matter, what tokens you have initially. You're going to be able to interact with your AI and just express what you want to achieve, the outcome that you want to achieve, and the AI will make it happen for you. So that's I would say a near-term objective that we have at PassApp. And then longer term, it's well, without going into too much detail, you'll be able to sort of have AI, let's say, working on your behalf while you sleep, right? So
okay.
Yeah, so we're basically, we want to automate. It always goes back to just making everything easy for users, because again, like 99.9% of the population of the world is kind of left out of all of this value that's locked up in DeFi and in Web3, and we want to make that accessible to the world.
I love that, and everything you sort of mentioned there, and the whole AI side of things just gets me really excited. I think the whole relationship of AI and blockchain is just fascinating. Obviously, there's a lot of exciting things to come out of this. Outside of everything you just mentioned there, is there any other upcoming collaborations or partnerships that you're sort of able to share or particularly excited about?
We have actually a few partnerships in the pipeline. Actually, one is ongoing right now. It's been very successful for both us and the partner. So the partner is Lisk. It's the up-and-coming ELD network in the EVM ecosystem. And we're one of the early supporters of Lisk as a wallet. So we've really discovered that there's a real problem to be solved with a lot of the layer 2 networks and even layer 1 blockchains, where they don't really have great wallet support. They're their users are left to use wallets that don't natively support them. And you know how it is. You have to go, it's like it's called custom network integration. You have to go copy some random URL and you have to paste it in, and then you have to enter data, and then all of that just to be able to see your token. And even that doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're focused on now, is partnering with, we started with Lisk, and there's other blockchains in the works. And then another area of focus for us in terms of partnerships is crypto communities. So Web3 communities, could be token communities, NFT communities, just general sort of media centric communities that I think also we can partner with as well, because another thing that we can do very well for really any of our partners is visibility and distribution. Because of that discoverability aspect that I mentioned, where you pick your interests and then you get the content that is relevant to your interests. Well, that's a big problem that all of these sort of networks and blockchains are trying to solve with their app ecosystem, right? Their app ecosystem is growing, but they need visibility and they need support. And they need to sort of reach their audience. And so we can do that in a very sort of targeted way. So those are some of the things that are coming in the pipeline. But in general, I see just in the future, the technology is going to be abstracted away more and more. The security is going to get much better. And I think wallets, I've been building wallets for 7 years now. And I've always viewed the wallet as akin to the web browser. So it's just like a web browser is the gateway to the internet. Everybody needs a web browser to browse the internet. Everybody needs a wallet to access Web3 and the digital economy. So I just think that wallets are going to get better and better in general. It's going to be the hub where you manage not only your finance, but also your property and your identity.
Yeah.
And I always like to, and then AI is super exciting to me because it's just the best way to abstract away all the complexity. I like to say AI is the new UI because it's really it's going to eventually replace all of the other sort of complicated user interfaces that we have to deal with, and just it'll just be just this simple interface where you can just kind of chat with your agent in your natural language and just achieve the results that you're trying to achieve. So that's kind of like the future that I see in the wallet industry and beyond.
Awesome. No, it sounds very exciting and a great way to finish it up there. Just to finish on then, Anne-Marie, I'm keen to understand how you see marketing in Web3 in general evolving over the next few years, but also as well how PassApp is positioning itself to stay ahead in building community and engagement as well.
It's a great question. I wish I had the marketing crystal ball. It's a very difficult thing to see, but I can say that my hope is that utility will win out, right? What we're seeing right now in the market is really happening because you have this massive amount of money that's changing hands with no real plan. The investors are becoming liquidity. So, users are really in search of what is their next move. Is it a project? Is it a community? Is it an investment? But like Josh said earlier, there's really limited resources for discovery, and that's part like where both the marketing and the product really have to step up, right? Because for discovery right now, you have X, which there's a lot of distrust there, and a lot of noise, and there are alpha groups and influencers. There's a lot of unknowns that kind of come along with that. So, our vision is to really help our users navigate. So we're doing the heavy lifting first and foremost of like being the best wallet that we can be, and then layering on this personalized discovery. So, we need to stay close to our users in the market and ultimately be shipping, in both product and community. Like that's our roadmap. Our roadmap is delivering with our product and our community real value and real utility. So we ask a lot of questions. We watch and we learn. We do a ton of research. And I think, what kind of is setting us up for success is like we're real people. We're a team that are present in Web3. All of us are either NFT collectors or investors or, builders within the ecosystem. And there's this kind of collaborative passion that we share as a group where, we're excited about the ecosystem and we're excited to change it and bring the best of, what blockchain has to offer to both the users now and users in the future. So, we're collaborators, we're real people and real builders. I always like to say like participation is the best education. And if we're not participating in Web3, we can't build for it,
Yeah.
So, we really are focused on the vision of what it can be, how we can collaborate with the ecosystem. Our Discord, is very much about user testing and learning and feeds directly into our support channels, with our team. So we have to take a balanced approach to it, making sure that our content is supporting the ecosystem and how it can be improved. Like, we're not here to tell you that the ecosystem is perfect. The ecosystem has flaws, and our long-term vision is to really help support that. If we can make it easier to be on chain, like I think the marketing kind of landscape has their work cut out for us to really help things be seamless, help things be something other than an airdrop campaign that really brings value to the users and their experience overall. So I really hope that what you see come from us is making it easy to engage on chain, making it easy to transact, making it easy to discover, and like Josh said, making it easy to automate.
Awesome stuff. Thank you both so much. This has been really insightful. Just to very quickly finish up, and a bit of a challenge as well at the same time. Very quickly, just from each of you, in one sentence, what would be your best bit of advice for anyone looking to enter the space? Josh, I'll start with you.
Stay away from the hype. Avoid the hype. It's really, really hard to do, but focus on value. And if something's not solving a problem, then just be wary of that. Look for things, look for projects that are solving real problems.
Amazing. I think that was perfect. Almariei?
Oh, that's hard to follow. You stole my answer, Josh. You know, I up until today, I would have told people you have to do your homework. You have to like learn and understand what a wallet is and the purpose of it, before you actually start engaging in the ecosystem. But that's a problem we're solving, so like you're not going to have to put the work in that you had to do a year ago. So I would say, come to Web3 with a curious mind. What is it that you want to do? Do you want to be a collector? Do you want to be an investor? And just think about what you want out of the ecosystem, and find the right projects to help deliver. And I hope that we can be one of those projects.
Absolutely.
I hope that people will reach out to us, and even if they have questions that they're just not even sure where to start, that's really what we're kind of building. I hope that they feel safe enough to ask us the hard questions.
Amazing. Absolutely perfect answers from both of you. Thank you so much. Thanks again for sharing both your insights. I really appreciate your time and flexibility coming on. It's great to hear all this amazing stuff about what you're doing. Obviously, exciting times coming up ahead, which is absolutely fantastic. So for those that are tuning into this episode, do keep an eye out for that. It's been incredibly exciting also as well to hear how you're redefining what I would say a smart wallet can offer as well, and making Web3 more accessible and personalized for everyone that's out there. So for our listeners, if you want to learn more about PassApp, visit pass.app and follow them on social media for updates. I'll include some links in the comments below as well. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Web3 Insights for the latest conversations with leaders shaping the decentralized revolution. Thank you so much for tuning in, Josh and Marie. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Aaron. It was a blast.